What if I told you the Aztec Empire wasn't built by warriors alone, but by spies disguised as merchants? The Pochteca, masters of trade and espionage, carried secrets more valuable than gold, and their intelligence shaped the rise of one of history's greatest empires. How the Aztec Empire was built by spies. In ancient Mesoamerica, the rise of the Aztec Empire wasn't just fueled by warriors and rulers, it was built, in part, by spies. A vast network of traveling merchants, known as the Pochteca, became the secret intelligence agents of the empire. These men journeyed far and wide, gathering critical information while amassing wealth and prestige. But with these rewards came immense danger, as their work often placed them deep in enemy territory. As the Pochteca trekked across Central and South America, they carried more than goods. They collected secrets, assessed the strengths and weaknesses of rival states, and quietly reported back to their rulers in Tenochtitlan. Their intelligence became the foundation on which Aztec power expanded. To understand how this network operated, we need to look at the world the Aztecs emerged from. The name Aztec comes from the mythical homeland of Aztlan, believed to be located in what is now northern Mexico and the southwestern United States. But the people themselves called their nation the Mexica. According to their origin story, the Mexica were guided by their patron god, Huitzilopochtli, on a centuries-long journey that began in the 1100s. For 200 years, they wandered as nomads, unwelcome in the communities they encountered. During this time, they survived by offering their services as mercenaries for powerful city-states such as Culhuacan and Azcapotzalco. Their fortunes changed in 1428, when the Mexica allied with two other city-states in the Valley of Mexico. This triple alliance transformed the Mexica into a military powerhouse. Together, their armies could mobilize as many as 400,000 soldiers, marching across Mesoamerica in pursuit of conquest. To sustain these campaigns, conquered cities were forced to maintain supply depots, enabling the empire to extend its reach further than ever before. At the forefront of this expansion stood the Pochteca. More than merchants, they became the eyes and ears of the Aztec state. While their official role was to trade, they also scouted distant lands, mapped trade routes, and identified political opportunities, or threats. For towns already under Aztec rule, Pochteca maintained commerce. For those not yet conquered, they served as the spies who paved the way for invasion. This combination of trade and espionage made the Pochteca essential to the empire's growth. In many ways, the Aztec Empire was built not only on the battlefield, but also through the secret intelligence gathered by these merchant spies. Their official duties as merchants were straightforward: collect tribute, establish marketplaces, and trade valuable items like jaguar pelts, jade, and cacao. But when an Aztec emperor set his sights on new lands, the Pochteca used their merchant role as cover for something far more critical: imperial espionage. Much like a modern intelligence network, the Pochteca were divided into specialized groups depending on the type of information needed. One of the most secretive were the Quimichan, meaning mice. These agents slipped into rival city-states and lived undercover for weeks at a time. The name was fitting. Just like mice, they could move silently and go unnoticed. To hide their true identity as Mexica, the Quimichan transformed themselves into locals. They cut their hair, changed their clothes, and mastered regional dialects. Under the cover of night, they gathered intelligence on the strength of city defenses, the layout of fortifications, and even identified individuals who might be persuaded to betray their rulers. Once their mission was complete, they disappeared without a trace, returning to Tenochtitlan to deliver their reports. On the other end of the spectrum were the Ostomeca, or traveling lords. Unlike the stealthy Quimichan, the Ostomeca made no attempt to hide in the shadows. Traveling in groups of a dozen or more, they entered enemy cities in broad daylight, posing as influential traders. Their open presence allowed them to gather information under the guise of legitimate commerce, while their wealth and prestige gave them access to the inner circles of foreign rulers. Through both subtle infiltration and bold displays of power, the Pochteca provided the Aztec leadership with the intelligence they needed to decide where, when, and how to expand. These spies were not simply merchants, They were the hidden architects of Aztec conquest. The Ostomeca were more than spies in disguise, they were also a warning. Their presence in a city-state signaled that the eyes of the Triple Alliance were watching. Yet this visibility placed them in extreme danger. At times, Mexico rulers deliberately sent them into hostile territory, fully aware they would be seen as a threat that had to be eliminated. In 1458, one such mission turned into a deadly statement. A group of 160 Ostomeca were sent into the territory of Calixtlahuaca. Their fate was sealed from the start. They became imperial martyrs. Their deaths provided the perfect pretext for war. Soon after, the Triple Alliance mobilized 300,000 soldiers, marched south from Tenochtitlan, and besieged the enemy capital. The campaign ended with the execution of Calixtlahuaca's leader and the full incorporation of the region into the Aztec Empire. Without the sacrifice of those Pochteca, there would have been little justification for invasion. Every Pochteca knew the risks. Their missions often placed them at the center of political and military conflict. But these spies weren't defenseless. They were also warriors, capable of fighting their way out when necessary. In the 1490s, a group of Ostomeca near the Gulf Coast proved just how formidable they could be. Surrounded in enemy territory, they fought off a siege that lasted 4 years, and not only survived but captured enemy soldiers to bring back to Tenochtitlan. This rare blend of spycraft and battlefield skill made the Pochteca unlike any intelligence network in history. Their courage was rooted in devotion to their patron god, Yaxcotecuhtli, whose name meant Nose Lord. In Mexica belief, the nose symbolized guidance, the ability to lead and move forward. For the Pochteca, it meant being the ones to scout ahead, to enter danger before anyone else, and to lead the empire toward its next conquest. So while the translation of their patron god's name, Yaxcotecuhtli, the Nose Lord, might sound unusual to us today, he and his followers were revered as the vanguard of the Mexica Empire. After a successful mission, Pochteca were honored with regalia, much like soldiers receiving medals, marking their bravery and service to the empire. Their religious ceremonies reflected the goods they gathered on their travels. Cacao, tobacco, copal, and rubber, resources from the tropical lowlands, were central to their rituals. Alongside this, they honored the Mexica's great gods, Tlaloc, the god of rain, and Huitzilopochtli, the god of the sun. Together, these deities represented Atl Tlacanoli, or burnt water, a symbol of war. All of this shows that the Pochteca were not just merchants, but also the spearhead of the Aztec war machine. Their position in society was exclusive and highly respected. Because of their vital role in military operations, Pochteca held elevated status and the potential for immense wealth. Yet entry into their ranks was restricted. One had to be born into the class or, in rare cases, be personally granted access by the emperor. They lived in separate districts, married within their community, and passed down their knowledge from parent to child, ensuring that their skills and secrets stayed within their tight-knit circle. But with wealth came risk. Pochteca accumulated fortunes on their journeys, making them targets for robbery, even from fellow Mexica. To protect themselves, it became custom to depart and return to Tenochtitlan under the cover of night, wearing plain, humble clothing to disguise their riches. Despite these precautions, the dangers of their lives were undeniable. Because of the risks they faced and their contribution to the empire, Pochteca were granted the funeral rites of warriors. Revered merchants were cremated with the tools of their trade, jaguar skins, quetzal feathers, fine jewelry, so they could carry their wealth and power into the afterlife. Their remains were placed in elevated locations such as mountain peaks, close to the sun, signifying their role as warriors who dedicated their lives to their people. In every sense, the Pochteca were far more than traders. They mastered the arts of commerce, disguise, intelligence gathering, and, when necessary, even martyrdom. Their lifelong training and unwavering loyalty made them one of the most elite spy networks in history. Through their sacrifices and skills, they transformed the Mexica from wandering mercenaries into the builders of one of the most powerful empires the world has ever known. And that is how the Aztec Empire was built by spies. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like this video, subscribe to History Love, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. History Love is your go-to channel for exploring the fascinating stories of the past, where we bring hidden histories and untold tales to life.